Welcome to Active Health 360. Your journey to a healthier, happier life starts here. Imagine this. You're just 35, sitting at your desk in New York, finishing a cup of coffee. Suddenly, your arm feels weak, your vision blurs, and you can't form the words you want to say. This isn't a scene from a movie. It's the reality that thousands of Americans are facing every single year. We often picture stroke as a problem that only affects our grandparents, something that might happen far in the future. But here's the shocking truth. Stroke is getting younger in America. More and more people in their 30s and 40s, people in the prime of their lives, are being rushed to the hospital with symptoms their parents might have faced at 70. Why is this happening? What's changing in our lifestyles, our environments, and even our healthcare system that's making younger Americans face this life-threatening condition? Today, let's uncover the surprising reasons behind the alarming trend of strokes getting younger in the United States, explore the hidden risk factors, and discover what you can do right now to protect yourself and your loved ones. First, let's break it down. What exactly is a stroke? A stroke happens when blood flow to part of the brain is suddenly cut off, either because a blood vessel is blocked, which is called an ischemic stroke, or because a blood vessel bursts, which is called a hemorrhagic stroke. When blood and oxygen can't reach brain cells, those cells start to die within minutes. That's why a stroke is often described as a brain attack. In the United States, stroke is the 5th leading cause of death and the leading cause of long-term disability. Every 40 seconds, someone in America has a stroke. But here's the part that's raising alarms. According to the American Heart Association, the number of strokes in adults under 50 has been steadily climbing over the past 2 decades. One study found that strokes among people in their 30s and 40s have more than doubled since the 1990s. Stroke isn't just a disease of the elderly anymore. It's becoming a disease of working-age Americans, parents, and even college students. Let's dive into the why. Why are strokes hitting younger Americans today? The first culprit is our modern lifestyle. Fast food, sugary drinks, and processed snacks are everywhere in American life. Over 40% of U.S. adults are now obese, and obesity is a huge risk factor for high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol, all major triggers for stroke. Our lives have become more sedentary than ever before. Desk jobs, long commutes, and hours spent binge-watching shows mean that younger Americans are moving less and less. Studies show that physical inactivity alone can significantly raise your risk of stroke. Another major factor is the rise of hypertension, or high blood pressure, among young adults. High blood pressure is the #1 cause of stroke. The problem? Nearly 1 in 8 young Americans aged 20 to 40 already has hypertension, often without knowing it. Many don't check their blood pressure until a crisis happens, missing the chance to catch this silent killer before it strikes. Diabetes is also on the rise, and not just in older adults. Type 2 diabetes, once called adult-onset diabetes, is now common among teenagers and young adults in the U.S. Poor diets and a lack of exercise mean that more people in their 20s and 30s are developing diabetes, and with it, a doubled risk of stroke. While cigarette smoking has declined in recent years, vaping and e-cigarettes have exploded in popularity, especially among young Americans. Some believe vaping is a safer alternative, but research now suggests that vaping can damage blood vessels, increase the risk of dangerous blood clots, and contribute to stroke, even in people under 30. Then there's the pressure of modern life. Student loans, the high cost of living, long work hours, all of these fuel chronic stress and anxiety. Chronic stress increases blood pressure, triggers inflammation throughout the body, and often pushes people to cope with unhealthy habits like excessive drinking or drug use. All these factors raise stroke risk even further. Speaking of substances, the use of drugs such as cocaine and methamphetamine, as well as heavy alcohol intake, has been directly linked to strokes in young adults. Emergency rooms across America are seeing more cases where recreational drug use has led to sudden, devastating strokes in people as young as 25. For young women, hormonal birth control and pregnancy both increase the risk of blood clots. According to data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, women under 45 who use oral contraceptives and also smoke are at significantly higher risk for ischemic stroke. Finally, there's a critical lack of awareness. Many young Americans simply don't recognize the symptoms of stroke, or they believe, that could never happen to me. This delay in seeking help makes strokes more deadly and more likely to cause long-term disability. To understand the human side of this alarming trend, let's hear the story of Ryan, a 38-year-old software engineer from California. Ryan thought he was healthy. He worked long hours at his tech job, lived on takeout and energy drinks, rarely found time to exercise, and vaped to manage stress. One morning, as he was getting ready for work, he suddenly dropped his toothbrush. He couldn't lift his right arm, and his speech became slurred. His wife noticed something was wrong and called 911 immediately. At the hospital, doctors diagnosed Ryan with an ischemic stroke. He was just 38 years old. The doctors explained that his combination of high blood pressure, poor diet, and vaping had silently damaged his arteries over the years. Ryan survived, but his road to recovery was long and arduous. Months of physical therapy were needed to regain movement in his arm and to relearn how to speak clearly. Ryan's story is not unique. Across America, more and more young professionals, parents, and even athletes are facing a condition they never thought possible at their age. These are not isolated incidents. They are part of a growing pattern that can affect anyone, regardless of how healthy they think they are. The good news is that strokes can be treated if they are caught quickly. The key is knowing the signs and acting fast. Remember the acronym FAST. F stands for face drooping. Ask the person to smile and see if one side of their face droops. A is for arm weakness. Ask them to raise both arms and see if one arm drifts downward. S is for speech difficulty. Listen for slurred or strange speech. T is for time to call 911. If you notice any of these signs, even if they go away, get emergency help immediately. Other symptoms can include sudden vision loss, a severe headache with no known cause, dizziness, or numbness on one side of the body. For younger Americans, awareness can be life-saving. Don't ignore these signs just because you think you're too young for a stroke. Acting fast can mean the difference between a full recovery and a lifetime of disability. Here's the empowering part. Up to 80% of strokes are preventable with lifestyle changes. You have more control over your health than you might think. Start by checking your blood pressure regularly, even if you're in your 20s or 30s. High blood pressure is a silent risk, but it's manageable with early action. Eat smarter by cutting down on processed foods, sodium, and sugar. Fill your plate with more fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains. Move every day. Aim for at least 30 minutes of walking, cycling, or any activity that gets your heart pumping. If you smoke or vape, make today the day you quit. Your arteries and your future self will thank you. Manage stress through meditation, exercise, or simply by taking time to unplug and recharge. Limit alcohol intake and avoid recreational drugs, both of which can raise your risk of stroke. Don't forget to schedule regular checkups so you know your cholesterol, blood sugar, and family history. Prevention doesn't mean living a boring life. It means living a longer, healthier one. Stroke is no longer just your grandparents' problem. It's here, affecting younger and younger Americans. But knowledge is power. And action is your best protection. By understanding the risks, recognizing the signs, and making small but powerful changes in your daily life, you can dramatically reduce your chances of becoming another statistic. So, let's turn this awareness into action. Share this information with a friend. You never know whose life you might save. If you learned something today, take a moment to reflect on how you can make positive changes in your own routine. Remember, your health is your greatest wealth. Take care of it, starting now. The choices you make today can help ensure a healthier, brighter future for you and for those you love. Thanks for watching Active Health 360. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more healthy living tips.